Alright, recently got the Killmode 4070 CM motor. Actually, hang on, let me get this out of the way right here. Alright, I got the external 2-cell battery out of the way just to show you exactly what I did. Now I know, even me, I didn't know how I was going to do this until I did it. Really, it is pretty simple to get this huge motor on the stock chassis. I didn't lengthen it. I didn't use Creighton chassis. I didn't extend or get longer drive shafts or anything like that. What I did, as you notice, the whole motor mount is moved up. I used my 1/4-inch impact, and let's see if you can see it. These are the two original holes in the back. Now basically I moved it up the same amount. So from here, it's about 1 inch from the back to the front motor center diff housing. And if you could see these two bolts right here, let me try to focus it. There we go. I actually drilled 2 new holes right here. I took basically the whole motor housing from here, moved it up, and then I moved it up the same amount. And all that it is, it gives me about another good inch. Now, hopefully, if you're not running the stock center diff, it won't hit the actual chassis, so don't mind if this hole isn't there. Don't worry about it if you're running like a 34 tooth spool like me. That's not an issue. Alright, now when I did do that, I noticed what I also had to really try to do, like the rear chassis brace, it basically stabilizes the whole rear end. If there's an impact, it makes the force from the rear end or the front end go to the chassis. Now, I actually had to remove the front chassis brace because everything was moved up about 1 inch, and it's impossible to fit that chassis brace. So what I did, if I get this out of the way, I just put a Traxxas tie rod I had laying around, bolted it using a longer screw, and actually have it on the plate, if you can see. The plate right here that I have the XLX mounted to. And yes, that is bolted. I drilled holes on top of that also. That is mounted to the motor housing, one on each side. So for not really safety purposes, but if I were to crash, because we all crash, if the front end comes in, alright, this is going, let's try to focus it out, there we go. The force of the impact is going to go here, so it's really going to be acting like another chassis brace, except it is being relied on by the motor mount because everything is bolted together. Now if you can see on the other side of the tie rod, I have it bolted into this chassis plate right here. If you can see, I can't see. Well, it's bolted in there. Now what I also had to do, since I moved that, since everything was actually moved up 1 inch, I could not fit my square pack or rectangle pack, if that's what you want to call, capacitor. So my buddy Killmode, well, all of our buddies Killmode, he told me to actually swap out the receiver and move it to the side where you originally had the cat pack. Now, I originally thought that's kind of crazy, you know, I don't think it could happen, but I tried it. You know what? It works. It works. Let me try to just focus it out more. Alright. Now, when I put it over here, I got rid of the thing that actually holds it on the other side. I don't even know what it's called, but it's bolted on each side, so it's not going to go anywhere, which is really good. So let's bring it to this side. Now, yes, I can still use a stick pack, in which I do like to use a couple stick cat packs. But for the square or rectangle packs, I have it here, and it is zip tied around my little easy safe battery holder protector, whatchamacallit, I don't know, but it's protected, it's not going anywhere. It's hip tied in there. Everything is really well built. You know, it took me about 10 hours just to make all of it work, and I'm very happy with the outcome. Alright, I decided to just do the review outside just because the blue light out here is really nice. It gets everything in a much better of a tone. Now this, all it was at the beginning of the video, it is just the battery that I have here. It's hip tied it on, and I just plug it into this 1Y harness and I flip the switch, then all the fans come on. Magic. Alright, but yeah, that is basically what I did. Oh, and I didn't touch the drive shaft part, or explain the drive shaft part, I should say. Since I actually moved it up about the difference of swapping the drive shafts, all I did was swap the drive shafts. That is all I did. Right now I have the one that was up in the front, I moved it in the back, and I had the one in the back, which was the shorter one about that. I have that up in the front here, and it works really well. I did run this. It was not very fast. Of course, it was just on my road. It was just on the road. Everything was very, very smooth with the motor. I'm very happy with it. And yeah. Also, with the ESC, because yeah, this is kind of, well, actually a lot modified, but I made a little easy port. If you guys do decide to move the whole motor mount up, you do have to consider how are you going to get in there. Let's say if you're out at the spot and let's say a drive cup comes loose. Alright, well, I have a couple bolts that are holding the ESC down, then I also have a zip tie and it's stable. But let's see if I can see in there. There we go. That bolt right there, underneath I have a lock washer or a lock nut. And basically it's a service port, so if anything in relates of the center spool or the center diff or whatever, let's say a drive cup comes undone, in which, yeah, that has happened to me before. All I gotta do, yeah, and it's gonna sacrifice one zip tie, so just know to bring more zip ties. I just loosened that up. Loosen that one tiny screw up, and it basically comes out and up. The whole ESC comes up after that. And then the plate that this is on, it's just a metal plate. I have it bolted in to the front and the back. Just got to undo that, then boom, you're looking at the whole drivetrain. So if you do decide to do this with the 4070 motor, 4070 TP motor, I would definitely consider trying to get an access port, an easy access port, if you do want to do this. Now, there is another way you can do it. Also, Killmode and I had a discussion about it, and this is the easy way. You could cut a good ½ inch off the A-arm and use much larger gears to basically have the motor out more, and make sure you just get the same gear ratio. It is not really what I prefer because I want to keep everything the same. It still works. It still completely works if you want to do it that way. But yeah, that's just another option if you completely don't want to go through the whole thing that I did. Yeah, it might not take you 10 hours, but I guess I'm slow a little bit. But option B would be cutting like a ½ inch off this rear A-arm over here. Keeping everything where it is, and then basically using a larger spur or a driven gear, which would be the spur, probably like a 40 or something. And yeah, it still won't touch the chassis plate, which is still good, but it's just upping the spur gear and upping the pinion gear basically to make a larger total tooth count. In return, moves the motor out a little bit more, so it won't touch the, where is it? Right here, that rear pin. And yeah, that is it. I appreciate you guys watching. This is how I did it. I never thought, well, I never thought, but I never would have thought I would have done it this efficiently, if I should say. I hope I shed some light. I had a couple guys help me out on this, so I do gotta give a real good thank you out to them. Good shout out to Killmode, a few other guys. You know, I really like what we have all come as friends, and just that we all help each other out. And I hope I could help you out a little bit. Any more questions, you know, just contact me. Oh, also, one thing. I did notice, since that I had to move everything up, and basically the ESC, well, ESC is in the same place, but it's pushed back more. I had to take off the Yeah Racing can heatsink, and I actually got an Integy one, so it still clamps on the motor, on the motor very well. It just isn't that wide, because if it is this wide, let's try to see over here. That amount of space right in between the ESC and the motor, if you could see that tiny shed of light, yeah, that Yeah Racing heatsink that we all like to use with the twin heatsink, it will not fit. In return, that actually took off another hour of my time just to realize that, because it pushed the whole ESC up, in which it hit the body, and I didn't want to do it that way. I wanted to do it the right way, and made sure I used something that worked. So yeah, that basically just covers it. Yeah, and I appreciate you guys for watching.